Spots and cheap pops, and a Merry Christmas to each and all of our high-popping cheap spotters out there. I messed that up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Silicon Steve Valli, and on the other side we got jolly old Saint Vladi, Dadi, and we are talking professional wrestling like we do each and every single solitary week right here on High Spots and Cheap Pops. And Vladi, Dadi, the train keeps on moving with the Bloodline. And we're going to open up with the Bloodline right now and what they've done the last week. I'll tell you what, fascinating. We go to SmackDown last week, and your thoughts and notice on the reactions from the Usos, Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, and even Paul Heyman during a little slip-up by Sami Zayn in the first promo, where Sami Zayn actually said, "I'm the guy's only friend." And just the look from Jimmy and Roman specifically, but even a little subtle thing from Solo and Heyman, and even Jimmy, just all their different reactions was fascinating. And the big thing that was fascinating about that, Vladi Dadi, is the Usos, and I'm so sorry, I just took with this running with you, and I forgot to give you a, hey, how you doing? But the Usos, Jimmy and Jay particularly, the way they reacted to Sami, your reaction to everything going on with the Bloodline and how this story continued on Friday. And then, of course, we'll talk about Monday when they absolutely were on fire.
Yeah, I just loved how you have Jay Uso like trying to prop up Sami, like, hey, clean up a little bit, maybe manicure the beard, baby, basically here. And he's doing like his best to accept Sami further. And you have the situation where everybody else is still a little bit cautious, but Jay's like in head first, right? So you have these new levels of this like friendship and kinship between Sami and the Bloodline. I can't believe I'm even saying that, but it's really good TV in terms of wrestling, and it's making my day. Honestly, they're really handling this, and it's just gotten better and better in a very quick manner of late, especially. So this is the gift that keeps on giving, and I'm a really big fan of like the island of relevancy at this point. This is just awesome the way they're going with this.
And you also just talk about Jay to Sami, but how has Jimmy's reactions and Jimmy's perception of Sami changed? Jimmy was ready to attack Sami when he said that he's still Kevin Owens' friend.
Yeah.
Jimmy now is the one who's like, I don't trust this dude. Roman now is even thinking that possibly.
Yeah.
And Paul Heyman always has a trick up his sleeve. And Solo I don't know if Solo ever liked him. And if you notice, Solo has started hanging out with Roman specifically as of late, even though he was there on Monday.
Yeah.
But prior to that, he was hanging out with Roman, I think, for a couple weeks in a row. Anytime Roman's around, he's specifically with Roman. And if you looked at last couple of reactions from Solo, he hasn't looked like he's enjoyed the feeling oozy. He wants serious. Yeah. He wants to kick ass, and that's kind of his character.
Yeah.
And we all know where this story's going. We all know Sami's turning babyface and he's going to be a big deal. We know that. But how did they get there? And that's the big, fascinating, beautiful part of this story. And again, to seeing Jimmy ready to pounce on Sami in a negative way, and Jay almost like, shit, I can't believe he just said that. Looking almost embarrassed because he's been putting his heart into it. Other thing, too, is Jay's the one who's been kind of disrespectful to the tribal chief. He's the one that went to war with him and a feud that made Jey Uso main event Jey Uso. He also said he didn't give a damn about the tribal chief just a couple weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago. Those things are intentional. Those are little seeds. And those are the slow burn that Triple H has been so vocal about how much he loves when he talks about producing storylines. And again, this is the only great, consistently good thing Vince did for a decade. And Triple H has improved it threefold. It's been incredible. And another point, we always say who really is the next box office? John Cena, the next John Cena, so to speak, because they haven't really replaced him. Roman is not, he's not even more like John Cena, where he's more like Hulk Hogan in that now when Roman Reigns is on TV, it's special. Hogan wasn't on TV every week. Hogan wasn't even interviewed every week. Right. When it was Superstars or certainly the beginnings of Monday Night Raw. So Hogan had these moments where all his matches, never classics usually, with the exception of when, because it was Hogan and because it was special and because of the crowd, because like the crowd so much. But if you looked at any of Hogan's matches, they were never really great matches, right? But because he was such a great character and because his moments were so special, and I think you're getting that with Roman Reigns right now, which is another, I think, a parallel that I don't think a lot of people have brought up.
It's a great parallel, man, actually. And he is like, it is a big deal when he shows up into the arena. You know, the crowd feels it. They feel like it's a special moment that he's even there. Yeah. And the evolution of Roman, especially to this like crime syndicate boss character that he's given us at this point, with his actual blood doing his bidding at this point. And he is just an incredible leader of these guys, really. He's not perfect by any means, but it's like Tony Soprano. And
he's just a badass.
And he's just a badass himself. He beat Brock Lesnar. Let's not forget. So he has that. Like
15 times.
Yeah. It's like he is the guy. And what he claims is really true. And you know what? There's like another little thing that I do like that they did recently, kind of adding to the nuances of the bloodline here. Recent, especially. Solo. They gave him Umaga's like finisher.
Yeah.
I love that move.
Samoan Spike.
It's like, it reminds me of Mang, you know, like I just love that idea of like him doing something like that. It's just a violent move.
And he can just knock people out with it as the enforcer.
Exactly.
What he is.
Yeah, totally. It's just perfect. And I love that they gave him that. That's just another like thing. Now he's even more of a badass versus just standing there like looking intimidating. Like, yeah, he's going to F people up.
They've done a great job with all those guys. Every single one. You knew Heyman was going to be Heyman. Yeah. But Roman continues to get just better. The Usos have never been more entertaining. And so they're doing brilliant stuff with Solo. They're not throwing Solo down your throat. Give them this big personality. Let the character fester. Let the character grow. Similar to the way Roman had to do as the guy in the Shield initially. Roman was the quiet badass, right? Yeah. And he was the big heater.
That's a great comparison.
Yeah. So I think it's a beautiful thing. And that switching over to that. So at the end of that, right in the middle of it, Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn are facing Kevin Owens and who? Of all the people, December 30th, which I thought was a little foreshadowing. And if anyone knew, December 30th, John Cena they already announced he was going to be on SmackDown. Paul Heyman says December 30th. Why not? Who's Kevin Owens going to get? Well, he just happens to get John Cena, who's going to be there on December 30th. And John Cena, in the content, like what he actually said was good, but the way he said it was so goofy and weird. Did anyone else pick up on that? Like it was almost like cartoonish. But he was really excited. And I love John Cena now. But and Ed and my buddy Kevin, and it was entertaining. Don't get me wrong, but he probably could have been at a 9, not a 12. But
you know what? If anybody who has the right to be snarky, is John Cena, because of what Heyman did to them the last time you saw him, where Heyman was doing like do 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 do, like walking off the ramp.
Oh, that was during. Was that during Roman, or was that a Brock Lesnar?
I think that was a Brock Lesnar moment.
That was the Brock Lesnar before, when he had a chance to almost beat Lesnar, and Seth Rollins interfered on the finish at a pay-per-view, and looked like actually Cena was going to beat Lesnar. And that was after Lesnar took him to Suplex City. The first one to ever go to Suplex City was John Cena. I think that was the first time. And then, of course, he said Suplex City against Roman at that WrestleMania that Seth cashed in on. And then Suplex City became a thing. But that's dominant, just kicking the living shit out of a top guy. The first time we saw that was John Cena. But yeah, because he said John Cena's going to need to do something that he never did. Kind of basically say, kind of turn heel, which he never did, obviously. But Yeah, but it's a big time match. You're having John Cena, one of the all-time greats, Kevin Owens, in the middle of this blood red feud with the Bloodline, and something really big will probably happen, at least significant in the vastness of this storyline, next Friday night, December 30th, day before New Year's Eve, with John Cena, Kevin Owens against Roman Reigns and the honorary use, Sami Zayn. So we're certainly looking forward to that. Hope you guys are too.